Hey guys, today we'll be talking about how to checkmate with the king and the rook. So we can break down this checkmate into 3 key stages. Number 1, we need to cut off the opponent's king. In this stage, we want to use our rook to limit the opponent's king movement, and the goal is to restrict their escape options and make it easier for us to corner them. After that, number 2, we need to drive the opponent's king to the edge of the board. So along any one of these 4 edges, and usually we give checkmate on one of the 4 corners of the board. So to do this, we need to coordinate our king and our rook to force the opponent king towards the edge of the board. And the third and final step is to deliver checkmate. So finally, how do we secure checkmate when the opponent's king is cornered? So as you guys can see, it's impossible to give checkmate in the center of the board, which is why we need to push the king to the corner, any one of these 4 corners, so that we can deliver the final checkmate. And just one important reminder is that we want to look out for potential stalemate positions while we figure out how to deliver the checkmate. So for example, in this position, black just played the move king to h8, and we have already fulfilled the first and second step of cutting off the opponent king and driving the opponent's king to the edge of the board, which is this square over here on h8. And when we are figuring out how to deliver checkmate, we need to be very careful and look out for potential stalemate positions. So for example, if white were to play a move like rook to g7, this would be a horrible blunder because the game would be drawn due to stalemate, as the black king is not in check and he has no legal moves now in this position, which is why the game is stalemate. So be careful and watch out for potential stalemate positions. Alright, so for today's video, we'll be discussing and demonstrating 2 methods to checkmate your opponent with a king and a rook as fast as possible. And method number 1 is the box method. So the box method involves us playing a move like this, and the whole idea of the box method is we want to create a box like this where we trap our king inside this box and we do not allow the opponent's king to leave this box. So essentially, this box acts like a cage for the opponent's king, and later on, as the few moves down the road, we would shrink this box smaller and smaller to make our cage smaller, and we deliver checkmate soon. So for example, black plays a move like here, king to f4, we play a move like this just to shrink the box. And as black, they would definitely try to stay and move their king towards the center of the board, because they will know that staying at the center of the board will not allow their king to be checkmated, and if they move towards the edge of the board, it would actually help us to deliver checkmate faster. So let's say he plays a move like this. So now we would like to play rook to e4 here so that we shrink the box even more. However, be careful because the rook on e4 is not guarded by any piece, and black's king can just capture our rook on e4, and that would be just a draw. So whenever we cannot play a rook move to shrink the box, all we have to do is just bring our king up to support the rook move for the future. So for example, now whatever black plays, the square on e4 is now protected by the king, and we can play rook to e4 on the next move. So if he plays a move like this, we just give check, shrinking the box even more. And like I said earlier, the king would want to avoid playing a move like here, king to h4, because that would mean he's at the edge of the board, which would be easier for us to give checkmate. Because in this case, we just need to play a waiting rook move. So any rook move along here, so any moves like this, and it's ready checkmate on the next move because black can't play any other king move. The only move for him to play is king here, and it's just checkmate already. So which is why the black king would want to avoid staying on the edges of the board and would try to stay away from the edges of the board. So if he plays a move like king to f6, we bring our king up to protect our rook. If he plays a move like this, we want to play rook to e6 to shrink the box even more, but our rook will be under attack. So just move our king up, place here, we give check, and if he plays king to h6 going to the edge of the board over here, again we just play a waiting move with the rook. The king is forced to go here, and we can deliver checkmate already. So if he plays the king, let's say over here, now as you guys can see, we have already shrunk the box and the king is ready on the edge of the board, which means that we have achieved stage 1 and 2 And now all we have to do is just to find the checkmate. So since our rook is under attack, we just defend it with our king. King goes to the side, and now you can see that we want to drive the king towards the corner of the board over here. However, if we play a move like king to g6, of course if the king goes to the corner, we just give checkmate. But the king can actually go to the left, attacking our rook. And if we play our king back, it will just lead us to the same position as before. So what do we do here then, if we can't play our king move to the side? Now again, we just have to play a waiting move with the rook. And as long as our rook stays on the 7 rank, to prevent the king from escaping, we just need to play a waiting move. And the easiest way to do so is just move the rook away as far as possible from the opponent king, like this. So now that we have played a waiting move, essentially we waste a move so that we force the position to be black to move instead. Because now if black plays a move like here, king to f8, we just give checkmate already. So black is forced to the corner of the board. And now again, be careful and watch out for potential stalemate positions. As mentioned earlier, rook to g7 would be stalemate. So now we can play our king to the side. The king has no moves, he cannot come up. He has to go to the left, and we play rook to a8 to give checkmate. So as you guys can see, in just 13 moves from the starting position, we managed to give checkmate as fast as possible. But before we continue to show the second method, if you guys are enjoying content like this, please smash the like button and subscribe to our channel. It helps us create more amazing chess videos for you. So we have discussed the box method as our first option, and now we can look at our second option, which would be the cutting off method. So in the cutting off method, the difference is that we would play a move like rook to a4 check, and usually we want our rooks to stay at either one side of the board as far as possible from the opponent king. And we call it the cutting off method because the rook will cut off the king vertically like this all the way until we reach the last row where we will deliver checkmate. So let's say the king has 3 options, and let's say he plays here. And what I like about this method is it doesn't matter what we do next, because our next move will be a king move, as we wouldn't want to play a rook move, because a move like rook to a5 check wouldn't bring us progress because the king would just go back and we would just repeat moves. So once we cut off the opponent's king, we use our own king to assist our rook in pushing the opponent's king towards the corner of the board. And like I said, it really doesn't matter which move our king goes. So for example, if our king goes up, and now let's say the king goes here, trying to go to this side to chase our rook. So now if we play our king move as well, we don't really make any progress because the king will just go this way to attack our rook. So instead, here we will want to play another waiting move, and the easiest way to play waiting moves in rook endgames is to swing the rook over to the other side of the board, because now if the king goes back to his original position on e5, we give check and the king has no way up, so he has to go down, and we have successfully cut off the king by 1 more row. So if the king goes to the left instead, we just have to chase the opponent king with our own king all the way until the end. And as you guys can see, the king is forced to go to the right, where we give check, and we have successfully cut off another row on the board. And of course, you can always combine these 2 checkmate techniques, where over here we apply the box method as well, where we bring our rook over here to b4. So now we have created this box which will cage the enemy king, and the black king will only have these few squares to move. So for example, king here, we move our king up, king here, we move our king up, king here. So again, if we play a move like king to c6 now, the black king will just go back and attack our rook where we made no progress. So what do we do in situations like this? Remember, we want to play a waiting move. And the easiest way to play a waiting move is to bring our rook as far away as possible from the opponent king. So we will play our rook over here. And now, if the king goes this way instead, it would be checkmate. And if the king runs the other way, we just have to chase him with our own king until the edge of the board, where we can deliver the final checkmate. Now let's go back to this position where we looked at what if we played our king up in this situation. Like I said, it doesn't matter which move we play our king forward. So now let's see what if we play our king over here to d3. So if the black king goes to the left, we just give check, and we have successfully cut off another row of the black king. And if the king just moves back anywhere one row behind, we just play our rook up, where we again have successfully cut off the king another row. So black would try to stay at the center of the board, and black will try to not let us cut off his king so easily. So he will play, let's say, a move like this, trying to run to the right side, and now we just, similar idea, we just chase the king, the opponent's king, with our own king all the way to the edge of the board, where we could utilize the box method to play a move like rook to g4 now, shrinking the box. And we just have to do the same idea as what we shown earlier, but just on a different side of the board. Now, of course, if you don't want to be confused and you don't really understand the box method, it's okay not to use the box method in this case, but it will just take a slightly more moves to deliver checkmate, because we can just chase the king, the opponent's king, with our own king. When he plays here, we just give check, restricting another row for the king, forcing him back. Let's say he goes here, we go here, he goes here, and so in this position, if we play our king to the left, the king can just go back to the right, and we have made no progress, right? So when we play a king move that will result in no progress, we just have to play a waiting move with a move like rook here to h5, because now if black goes to the right, we give check and we force the king back another row. So if the king goes to the side, we chase the king all the way to the left, and again we can use the box method to play rook over here to corner the king. But it's also okay to just chase the king with our own king as well, where we keep our rook on the one side, either side of the edge of the board, furthest as far away as possible from the opponent king, so that the opponent's king cannot attack our own rook. Now, as you guys can see, the board will start shrinking more and more. So here again, we play a waiting move, because now if the king goes here, we give check. So the king has to go run the opposite direction, and we just have to chase the king with our own king up to here, we give check. Now we have successfully cornered the king on the last row of the board. And again, it really doesn't matter which king move you play forward. Of course, a move like king to f6 here would deliver checkmate way faster if you play the other two king moves. But the difference is not a lot, and it's just a few moves, and you would definitely be able to checkmate the opponent's king within 50 moves following any one of these methods. Because if king to f6, the king can't go here because it's checkmate, so we force the king right, and then it's just checkmate in just like 2 moves. Whereas if we play a move like this, the king can run to the left where there's no checkmate yet, but we can chase the opponent's king with our own king. If he goes to the left, now we play the waiting move, because if king here, we just give checkmate, and if the king runs to the left, we chase him with our own king. And if the king goes over to the right, now again, we want to play the waiting move, because imagine that if it's black to play and he goes king here, we just give checkmate on the next move. So we just have to play a waiting move with our rook, as long as our rook stays on the same rank to prevent the black's king from escaping. So if the king goes here, we just give checkmate, and the king is forced into a corner where we would soon give checkmate after that. So of course, certain methods will allow you to deliver checkmate just a few moves quicker than other methods, but it's up to you. But in the end, it's up to you, and it depends on which method you like the most, or which method you find it easiest to execute in the game. So either the box method or the cutting off method, and of course, you can combine both methods together to deliver checkmate as well. Thanks for joining us today as we explored how to checkmate the king with a lone rook. Remember to practice these techniques by yourself, or try them out in the real game whenever you have the opportunity. If you found this video helpful, please hit that like button and subscribe for more chess content. In the comments below, let us know which technique you find more effective, the box method or the cutting off method, or a combination of these two methods together. Thanks for watching, and we see you in the next video.